Ooh, 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 ooh. Let's see. Where did Gracie go? No, don't play with that right now. Come here. Open. Oh, just waiting for people to come on, unless they blocked me now on here, so I don't know. It's showing live. So. Hey, hi. So hey guys, it's Sunday. I'm just gonna start. I know many people are watching Maria Bartiromo because she has the president on. But it's Sunday, and I came across another reporter on YouTube that I think we should all hear. So what I'm going to do now, because a lot of people can't see anything with YouTube, so I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to play my live. It looks like either I'm being blocked or whatever, but I'll try it. See how many people are going to come on. So right now I think there's only one following me. I don't know about that. So let me see. I'm going to play this video because it's very important that everybody hears this. So watch this.
So the front page. I'm your host, Scott Cameron Goulet. Okay, let's
Gotta hear this, guys.
On Thanksgiving Day, attorney Sidney Powell filed a lawsuit in Georgia, which was referred to her as Kraken Released. I would like to share with you some insights of this indictment, dubbed the mother of all bombs. Some inside stories were revealed in this indictment, including the exposure of George, you all know his last name, Soros, by experts who used to work under Soros, who said that the hardware of Dominion was made in China. The hardware was made in China, folks, and that Biden himself has met with hackers in person, and he appointed Serbians to control Dominion. Also in today's episode, Trump has started his action to drain the swamp by removing 11 high-profile members of the Defense Policy Board, including Madeleine Albright and Henry Kissinger. So let's start with the mother of all bombs, which may well blow up Georgia. Before Sidney Powell e-filed her charges, Roscoe B. Davis, who knew her well, was the first to reveal that Powell was about to drop the mother of all bombs, the power of which is only second to a nuclear bomb. The implication is that Powell's 100-page indictment is an extremely powerful one. A mother of all bombs is a term that refers to a new type of large combustion air bomb developed by the U.S. military to destroy underground bunkers, tunnels, caves, and holes, specifically to combat deep underground enemies. So what exactly is in the indictment? In this indictment, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp and Secretary of State and Chairman of the Board of Elections, Brad Raffensperger, are both defendants, accused of multiple violations of the law. The massive fraud begins with the election software and hardware from Dominion Voting Systems Corporation, only recently purchased and rushed into use by the defendants, Governor Brian Kemp and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. The complaint explains Kemp illegally authorized election officials to open envelopes for absentee voters 3 weeks before the election. In April, the Georgia Board of Elections adopted an emergency rule allowing absentee ballots to be processed 3 weeks before the election, with the superintendent authorizing the opening of the envelopes. These new rules are in direct conflict with Georgia state law. Georgia state law requires that envelopes may only be opened after the voting on election day has started. And Secretary of State Raffensperger and some counties violated the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution by denying equal protection under the law, depriving poll watchers of the right to observe and monitor the election process. The indictment stated that the mathematical and statistical anomalies in the election data across the state of Georgia were virtually impossible, as evidenced by the testimony of multiple witnesses, documents, and expert testimony. Particularly egregious election fraud occurred in the counties of Forsyth, Paulding, Cherokee, Hall, and Barrow. Tens of thousands of ballots were involved, enough to affect the outcome of a general election. The indictment states the scheme and artifice to defraud was for the purpose of illegally and fraudulently manipulating the vote count to make certain the election of Joe Biden as the President of the United States. Powell said in her tweet, "Most of our prison population in the US is incarcerated on far less evidence than we have here." So many of you may be wondering what you can do to help spread the word about this great awakening. One small thing you can do to help thousands of more people see this program and help them with their own great awakening is hit that subscribe button and that like button and leave a nice comment. And please share this program with one of your friends, because everyone deserves to know the truth. We thank you here for your support at Front Page. Next, a mole was exposed at the source of the massive fraud. The indictment also alleges that the election hardware and software manufactured by Dominion was the source of the massive fraud. The design and feature of the Dominion software did not permit a simple audit to reveal its misallocation, redistribution, or deletion of votes. The indictment also shows there is uncontrovertible physical evidence that the standards of physical security of the voting machines and the software were breached. Voting machines were connected to the internet in violation of state and federal law. As Powell has said before, a kid with a cell phone can access the system. There's also a startling allegation on page 9 of the indictment. It shows that, as explained and demonstrated in the accompanying redacted declaration of a former electronic intelligence analyst under 305 military intelligence, with experience gathering SAM missile system electronic intelligence, the Dominion software was accessed by agents acting on behalf of China and Iran in order to monitor and manipulate elections, including the most recent US general election in 2020. This declaration further includes a copy of the patent records for Dominion systems in which Eric Comer is listed as the first of the inventors of the Dominion voting system. This man, as described by attorney Rudy Giuliani at the press conference on November 19th, has close ties to Antifa, an extremist organization, and that the man is a vicious, vicious man who thought he was going to fix this election. I'm not going to explain further here. You may check it out in previous news. Here's another thing Powell alleges: that the agents acting on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party and Iran had access to the Dominion system. Since they can access it, they are perfectly capable of altering the vote results. Just a simple truth. I'd like to repeat that. China and Iran spied on the election and possibly manipulated it, and that agents of China and Iran accessed the computers. So how did the CCP agents gain access to the Dominion system to monitor and manipulate the elections? On November 25th, the National Pulse, a conservative media outlet in the United States, reported that Anthony Hong, who worked at Dominion as a core infrastructure manager for information technology, was also found to have been working for China Telecom before. Andy Hong's LinkedIn profile shows that from 1998 to 2002, he worked at China Telecom. Now remember, we mentioned China Telecom, which has been blacklisted by the Trump administration as one of the communist Chinese military companies. It was identified as being backed by the Chinese military. What do you think about someone with such a background acting as Dominion's core infrastructure manager, being in charge of key technologies such as your voting machines? In addition, Andy Hong has also worked extensively with Cisco, which is notorious and responsible for upholding China's draconian internet firewall. We do not know exactly what Andy Hong has done, but his background is highly suspicious. Was he a mole planted in Dominion by the Chinese Communist Party? Is there a back end?
Hold on, let me turn this, give it a rest. It's only 24 minutes long, so there's still people coming on. I want everybody to know that this is the front page. This is by that guy you're listening to is Scott Goulet, and he has a big following. So today when I came across him, I was amazed at this report. And to be honest with you, it was the first report. Like when you go on YouTube, it was right there. So I said, let me listen to it. So I said, let me come live. Guys, I know that a few people have been watching Maria Bartiromo. I know my sister called me and she wasn't too happy about with Ken Starr. But then when we were talking, I says, Jean, you need to listen, understand. Maria interviewed with the president like a couple of days ago. And remember, a lot of these people that are coming on, I wouldn't, you know, Ken Starr's a great guy in that, but you know what, when they have their opinion, well, it's going to be a hard road and this and that. Listen, they don't actually know what's going on behind the scenes. That's why I say, if you constantly listen to these pundits and, you know, even on Newsmax, I like Newsmax, but you'll get like Mark Halperin. Okay, Mark Halperin, he's against President Trump. Okay, he's never liked him. So the point is, you gotta push them aside. You have to push them aside. I want people that are like now talking about Sidney's, you know, 104 page. So that's exactly what Scott is doing. Let me turn this back around and then get it going again. So hold on. Here we go.
Software. We cannot help but stay skeptical and diligent in our investigation. Next, let's talk about Dominion's development path. Who created this monster? Let's start with Obama's 2012 campaign, which is another big story.
Listen to this.
The news site National File exclusively reported on November 24th that Dana Jill Simpson, an election, integrity, and technology expert who worked at Tides Foundation Insiders, revealed that before the 2012 election, Biden personally traveled to Serbia to meet with hackers. And they confirmed that the Dominion software was controlled by Serbs. The quote says, according to whistleblowers, Democrat presidential candidate Joe Biden personally visited Serbia.
Sorry about it. And I'm afraid if I post this, that it's not going to, they're either going to take it down. So I'll try again in a few minutes. Let's just wait. You know, sometimes it just comes right back again. Remember, this is my iPad of 2016, but this is an iPad Pro. It's more like a computer. So let me see what's going on here. I don't know. I got this message. Let's see here. About. Alright. So I'll try it again. Let's see, guys. Hold on. Let's play it again.
To take part in a scheme that gave Democrats control of America's Dominion voting machines in coordination with Eric Holder's Justice Department. But before getting into the details, I should give a word about Dominion's development path. It was an unusual process, or rather, a purposeful cultivation of a poisonous seedling. Reports indicate that Obama, who took office in 2009, appointed Eric Holder as Attorney General. Holder then forced ES&S, the largest U.S. voting machine company, to sell Premier to Dominion within 60 days, citing antitrust concerns. The Science Defies Politics blog reported, in 2009, New York ordered a few dozen of these systems. In 2010, Obama's Department of Justice, Holder and Mueller, took the EVS unit purchased from Diebold away from the market leader ES&S and gave it to Dominion. The Science Defies Politics blog also reported, within 2 weeks, Dominion also acquired Segovia, which was formerly spun from Smartmatic, although some ties between these two companies had remained. This transformed Dominion from a newcomer to the second largest player in the US market in 2 months. Within 2 months, Dominion went from being a newcomer to being the second largest player in the US market, behind ES&S. 4 months later, in the 2010 midterm elections, Dominion officially became involved in American politics. As ordinary voters, people only care about who they vote for, but rarely ever notice if their votes are registered to the candidate they support, because most people would never expect the election could have been rigged. But to some election integrity and technology experts, Dominion's taking over of a third of the voting market in the United States is just not normal. So Simpson started to investigate and found some shocking secrets. So Joe Biden personally assigned hackers to control Dominion. Dana Jill Simpson and her husband Jim are election integrity and technology experts. Their investigation revealed that hidden behind Dominion are private equity funds.
Look at
The
this.
Soros Foundation, the Clinton Foundation, the Obama administration, and foreign governments such as the Chinese Communist Party and the Serbian government. Bingo. Although both Dana and Jim are Democrats, they are not radical leftists. They believe that Obama and Biden were just too corrupt. Dana Jill Simpson has been investigating Dominion for years, and she brought her concerns about voter fraud to the FBI back in 2016, including information about Dominion, but the FBI ignored her pleas for help. The National File reported that Dana realized that Obama and Biden were controlling an election company in order to ensure Obama's re-election in 2012. Dana has gathered some clues that in May 2009, Biden visited Serbia, made a dirty deal with hackers there. Dana is quoted in the article as saying, he cut a deal to help Serbian hackers in Belgrade. Not only did they get a better chance, but Biden had Holder force ES&S in a divestment suit in the antitrust department in the US Department of Justice to give over half of ES&S to Serbian programmers for Dominion voting systems. The report included a photograph of an ordinary building exterior in Belgrade. The article states that it is the place that the hackers worked at. In the wake of this year's election fraud scandal, over 100 Dominion employees removed their profiles from LinkedIn social network, and all of them are located in Serbia. Some netizens joke that the Dominion employees who removed their profiles were like cockroaches when the lights were turned on. Now it seems that those employees in Serbia were actually working for Biden and Obama. They panicked and ran for their lives, afraid of being caught in the crossfire. The thing that makes me shake my head the most here, and there's a lot to shake your head at, is that Dominion hardware was made in China. Dana Jill Simpson also discovered a critical problem. Dominion's hardware was in fact made in China. On the surface, Flex had made the Dominion hardware, but in reality, Flex had handed over the manufacturing task to a Chinese company, and the largest customer of Flex in China is Huawei, the Chinese Communist Party's technology leader. Headquartered in Singapore, Flex has one of the world's largest foundries in China and employs some 50,000 Chinese workers, a quarter of its global workforce. Huawei is an important partner of Flex in the production of all cell phone products. Huawei's base station, smartphones, and especially new models that support 5G are all manufactured by Flex. Dana, who has been to Dominion's headquarters, the Denver office, told National File, they are misleading the public about where the equipment is made. All it does is sell foreign programmed machines to US voters like they were made in Denver when they are not. She said the machines are made by Flex in China for the most part, and the programming is done in Serbia and Canada, and the international corporation is in Barbados. Who still believes that the Chinese Communist Party did not interfere in the US election? President Trump kept saying, drain the swamp. a promise to clean up Washington politics of corruption and insider influence. And this election fraud has just exposed the swamp. Isn't this the process of draining the swamp? So good old President Trump is keeping his promise. Even now, he is draining the swamp. Kissinger and other Defense Department advisors were purged from office. The Pentagon issued a statement removing 11 prominent advisors to the Defense Policy Board. Acting Defense Secretary Christopher Miller appeared again on November 26th to thank these individuals.
Hold on.
Foreign policy reports that
Just keep listening
Miller,
to it.
while expressing gratitude,
Just listen
hopes
to
to
it.
nominate new members to serve in an
Yes.
advisory capacity so that the U.S. can better respond to competition among the great powers.
Incredible.
This was a major move by the Department of Defense following Trump's dismissal of Esper as the Secretary of Defense. And the impact was equally dramatic.
It's amazing.
So who are these 11 high-profile advisors from the Defense Policy Board? Some of them are better known as former Secretaries of State, Henry Kissinger and Madeleine Albright, as well as former Chief of Naval Operations, retired Admiral Gary Roheed, former Chief Operating Officer at the Pentagon, Rudy DeLeon, and former Bush Deputy National Security Advisor, J.D. Crouch, former ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, Gene Harman, and former House Majority Leader, Eric Cantor, former Deputy Secretary of Treasury in the Bush administration, David McCormick, and former senior official in the Department of Defense, Franklin Miller. Judging from their profiles, it's not difficult to find out that they are pro-CCP when it comes to policies dealing with China. From the Clinton to Obama administration, it is people like Kissinger who played an important role in helping China to connect with the US and then steal the advanced technology from the US and infiltrate the US in all levels, which results in making China grow dramatically in military and economy. Kissinger in particular was the only foreign dignitary to be received by 4 generations of Chinese communist leaders. He has visited China more than 70 times, including more than 50 official and 20 private visits, and has always been called an old friend by the CCP. He facilitated Nixon's visit to China, which led to the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and the United States, and helped the CCP bring in foreign capital and technology after the Tiananmen massacre on June 4th, 1989. He lobbied the US government to drop sanctions, and under the guise of the US-China Relations Association, he lobbied for the CCP in Washington, D.C. on trade and human rights issues and influenced congressional decisions. He is a typical international lobbyist. Another example is Albright, former Secretary of State, together with Samuel Berger, former national security aide at former President Bill Clinton's administration, formed the Stonebridge Group, which, like Kissinger's consulting firm, assisted European and American clients in developing and implementing business strategies for the Chinese market. These Kissingers, who benefited greatly from the CCP, did everything they could to help the CCP, such as publicly back Beijing-backed Biden and disparaging Trump. Albright criticized Trump in 2018 for his administration's contempt for international rules, violation of US justice, and disparaging of federal law enforcement agencies. Her words sound consistent with the CCP's rhetoric. Obviously, these people are somehow blocking the implementation of policies of Trump's administration. With their interference, Trump is really like walking in the swamp. What's more important? These people may have threatened the national security of the United States. Earlier this month, after the International Atomic Energy Agency reported that Iran uranium stockpile was 12 times what the nuclear agreement allowed, Trump proposed an attack on Iran's major nuclear sites. But a group that included the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of State, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the National Security Advisor, and the Vice President told Trump that the bombing option was not a good idea and would escalate an already tense situation. The meeting was supposed to be a secret one, but it was leaked to the New York Times, which reported it in full. There's nothing wrong with the media digging for information, but this incident is detrimental to the U.S. national security, the situation in the Middle East, and even to world peace. This is tantamount to telling Iran that the U.S. will not take military action against you because many cabinet members oppose Trump. This would make Iran even more reckless. But some people leaked the contents of such an important secret meeting to the New York Times, which was always opposed to Trump. The New York Times reported the meeting in full. This is a frightening and intolerable trend for the U.S. There's no way to find out who is the one who leaked the secrets. It looks like people in the swamp of the Department of Defense could be the suspects. So, in this case, simply clean up and drain the swamp. There's no way to know the real situation as to whether or not it was due to early leaks that the Trump administration took a temporary standstill strategy, but something happened today that makes it impossible not to make some connections. Next, Iran's top nuclear scientist was assassinated near Tehran. There's another breaking news according to BBC. Iran's most senior nuclear scientist, Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, has been assassinated near the capital, Tehran. The country's defense ministry has confirmed on Friday. According to Iranian state news agency Fars, Fakhrizadeh was then taken to hospital after the attack, where he died later. Iranian state media said the scientist was targeted in Absard city in Tehran's province, eastern Damavand County, with terrorists bombing a car before shooting at Mr. Fakhrizadeh's car. Iranian media reports said the attackers opened fire on the scientist in his car. A photo released by West Asia News Agency on November 27th shows damaged car of Mohsen Fakhrizadeh after it was attacked near Tehran. In a series of reports on the incident, Iranian state television said sources say a scientist was the victim of an assassination attempt by unknown persons during an armed attack on his bodyguard team. According to BBC, Israel has made no comment on Fakhrizadeh's death, and the U.S. Pentagon has declined to comment. It is not clear whether the assassination was related to what's happening in the U.S., but it did take place after the Pentagon started draining the swamp. In closing, I would like to read from a letter written by General Michael Flynn. By Almighty God's grace, and with the love and courage of my wife Lori, the strength and fortitude of our families, and the inspiration of our friends, and every single patriot who circled with me with prayers, wisdom, and kindness, I say thank you from the bottom of my heart. For the first time in more than 4 years, and because of my fearless attorney, Sidney Powell, the guardian angel of American justice, and the thousands of good people with endless energy rallying together on my behalf, I breathe freedom and liberty today. To all Americans, what we choose to do in this life should never be stopped by fear. Instead, we need to embrace the uncertainty and accept the risk that comes with sacrifice, and then work to overcome the sheer magnitude of life's challenges, especially during this crucible of our nation's history. Our very survival as a nation is at stake. He continues, through generations of military in our past, and with many of us still serving our nation in one capacity or another, we will rise up to the next set of challenges together and defend our families, our homes, our honor, and our nation. Even today, perhaps more than ever before, America requires tried, true, and tested patriots to ensure the future of our children and our grandchildren. And in the end, there is only one who is the judge of our ultimate destiny. God bless America. General Michael T. Flynn.
Amen.
Okay, this is our show for today, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. If If you like what you heard, don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video with at least one person, because everyone deserves to know the truth. Again, thank you for watching.
Guys, that's front page. If you want to go on your own in YouTube, go to front page with Scott Goulet. Okay? When I came across this today, I was very excited. Matter of fact, when my sister called me up a little, you know, I didn't watch Maria yet. I recorded. So, like, I'm telling everybody, like people right now, Deb, we're running out of time. Where is Barr and where is Durham? Now, let me talk to you about the time thing. Remember, a lot of things are just formality. See, what's been happening in, you know, for years and years, there's never been an issue. Whenever there was an election, okay, nothing with fraud in that, so they go through the formality. Okay, now maybe we might have a little recount, okay, where it doesn't change nothing. So what happens is they just go with the flow. On December 8th, we got to get this ready. The state officials, you know, have to, the Secretary of States have to do the, you know, certifying of the states and the vote. And then it goes over to the Electoral College. Then on January 5th or 8th, whatever it is, these are all formality dates. But you know what? When there is something as big as this, and that's what the mainstream media wants to do, and this is what Joe Biden is doing, they're pushing and pushing. Let me tell you something. Right now, this week, starting tomorrow, there's going to be 3 other states that are also going to listen to Rudy Giuliani, Jenna Ellis, and it's going to get bigger. Right now, they have the issue with Pennsylvania, where the electors want to now take it back of how the secretary, because it looks like there's fraud, you know, coming from that state, and by right, they can't certify. It's just not going to happen. Now, at the same time, and Rudy and Jenna are smart. They're pushing so it gets to the Supreme Court, but at the same time, they're going to go to the legislatures of each state, because technically, if there is any sign of fraud, they can't certify that vote for Biden. It's just the way it goes. But you see, everybody's used to, they're not going to go that route. It's never going to happen. Baloney. This is different. I believe that as soon as the president is going through all that he has to get to the Supreme Court, my heart is telling me that this is what Barr and Durham has been working on for a long time. And I'm going to say this, guys, right before the election, yeah, everybody wasn't happy that we weren't seeing any arrests. But understand, those arrests, we were all under the Obamagate thing. Oh, everything that happened to President Trump. Yep. President Trump and everybody led us to believe that everything that we're going to see is pertaining to Obamagate, when in reality, it wasn't. In reality, they knew. Sidney Powell would never come out and put her life, her everything, her career on the line if this woman does not have the evidence. And I'm telling you guys, this is coming for years now. Now it makes more sense why Obama did not want General Flynn. And meanwhile, we're thinking, oh, it's just over Trump. Remember something. It can't, the swamp would never be drained for what they just done to President Trump, because there's still many people that aren't going to believe it. And he's one man. I'm going to say it again. President Trump is one man. What the difference is when it has to deal with all the people. So to get the fraud out of an election, because they knew this was going to be the next thing. This didn't just happen because of the election. President Trump knew this was going to happen. Probably knew it from before 2016. Just go back and rewind this, or go and look at Front Page with Scott Goulet, where he outlines who? Biden, Obama. This is big, guys. It's not going to just be where, you know what, oh, because of certification, everything's going to get under the rug. That is not happening. And again, here we go with the PC culture, because that's what happens. Well, Deb, we got this date, and we got this date, and we got that date. Sorry, you want to know what? When this hits the courts, this could take months. I'll tell you right now. There is not something set in stone that on the 20th, yeah, it has to be for a legitimate person that won. A legitimate person that won by the Electoral College. And that's why it's the best thing that Rudy and Jenna and all of them are doing, is going to the legislators, because on Wednesday, that hearing was epic. It showed the people. And how could any state certified? It's not good for the American people. With any doubt going in that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are all part of this fraud. This has been going on a long time. You can't have it. You can't have it. And the truth will be exposed. Let me just tell you this. Okay. So now, right now, listen to this other bombshell. Breaking bombshell. Floyd County in Georgia. A man reported to be the Dominion rep scanning ballots alone, where over 3,000 votes, the majority for President Trump, went initially uncounted, is Kamala Harris, campaign photographer. And here's the pictures. See him with her? Right? There he is. Look at this. Watch this. Hold on. It went kind of dim. Oh, wait. Wait a minute. There he is. See him? Imagine that. Imagine all of this. It's really, really sad. So, I'm going to go. I'll be back on with the president's tweets. Again, you can follow this gentleman. It's Scott Goulet. Front page. Front page. Just type in front page and watch it yourself. And again, I know people are writing, Deb, we're running out of time. I just let it go in one ear and out the other. There's a process. This is going to be an explosive week. I'm telling you now. This is going to be an explosive week. Again, follow the president, follow Sidney Powell, Lynn Wood, Rudy Giuliani, OAN, Chanel, all of them, not all this other. And even when Maria brings on Ken Starr, guys, do you realize something? These people are old. They're old. They've never. They're always giving in to the Democrats. Trump is a different person. And Trump is fighting for the integrity of our elections. There's a lot of things going on. You got Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood with criminal. Okay? Then you got the president with Rudy Giuliani and Jenna Ellis and others. Okay? I believe there's still Pam Bondi. There's still Jay Sekulow. They're going with the Constitution. So they didn't expect this. And to be honest with you, I'm going to say it again. Joe Biden needs to come out and concede. Because the evidence, personally, you know what? Who knows? Maybe he's going to be one of the first to be arrested. I'm telling you now. Remember the day on when he came out and he said he got so mixed up, he must have thought he was talking to his crew and said, we have the biggest voter fraud team. Did you guys see this? You gotta rewatch this tape where it shows that Joe Biden even went over to Serbia to meet with the hackers. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.